Hey, what's going on? It's Ryan Stewman, founder and CEO of BreakFreeAcademy.com, your favorite sales blogger over at HardcoreCloser.com. And today I want to talk about what hardcore closers talk about the most, and that's sales objections, right? I want to talk about the most common objections. And the reason for this video is important because objection handling is what separates a salesperson from a closer. And I want to help separate you from a salesperson and turn you into a closer and teach you my effective objection handling procedure. You see, while everybody else just kind of wings it when it comes to handling objections, I've got an actual method that I use every single time, and I'm going to teach that to you in this video. So it's important that you pay attention, that you listen to what I say. You might want to grab a pen and piece of paper so that you can write down some of this stuff. And by the way, before we get into this, one of the best ways to get good at handling objections is to familiarize yourself with the objections that you're going to get on a regular basis and what you're going to say to overcome them. I've created a product called Closer Cards. You can go over to closercards.com, and they're basically flashcards for salespeople that basically on one end you write the objection, which I'm going to give you some common objections here in a minute, and on the other end you write what you would say when that objection comes up, and you study them every single day because repetition is what builds us into closing machines. And then if you're a sales manager, you can buy these cards for your people and you can fill them out. You can put the objections on one side. You can put they're basically fancy index cards that you fill out. And what they do is they will help your sales team become better at sales and handling objections as well. So the first thing that some common objections are going to be like, I don't have the money. It's too expensive. Let me talk to my wife. I'm not ready to make a decision today. These are going to be the most common objections. So you want to write down, especially if you go to closercards.com and you buy the closer card packs, you want to write down the 25 most common objections. And maybe you don't have 25, maybe you only get 5 or 10 in your business. Well, write them down. And then when somebody throws you a zinger out of left field, go ahead and write that down as well, because you can always make room for new closes. So if somebody's like, listen, I've got to talk to my astrophysics or my proctologist, you can be like, oh, okay, well, I've never heard that one before. That's something new. And so here's what happens to me. The other day, a guy tells me, he says, well, listen, I need to go speak with my wife before I make this kind of investment. I was talking to him about joining my coaching program, and I told him it was $5,000 or 2 payments of $2,500 spaced out 30 days each. And that was for the entire year. And he said, man, I've never bought something of this significance when it comes to money. I need to go talk to my wife. And I said, well, sir, that's he goes, I know you're the king of objections, but I need to go talk to my wife. I said, well, you know what? That's a great idea, actually, because your wife's a great indicator of your ability to take action, and her faith in your ability to actually profit from something like this will speak to a lot about how you do life. And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, if you go ask your wife, honey, I'm thinking about investing $5,000 with a coach that'll help me be a better person. It'll help me build a better business. It'll help me make more money. And she says, don't do it. That doesn't mean that she doesn't believe in me. That means that she doesn't believe in you. And if your wife doesn't believe in you, you'd have to ask yourself, sir, why doesn't your wife believe in your ability to take action and make money and get results from it? And that could be what's led you to this phone call, is that you need help because you're not handling your business correctly at home and you're not handling your business correctly in life. And he goes, wow, man, that's some pretty heavy stuff. And I was like, so I want you to actually go talk to your wife, because if she tells you no, that you shouldn't invest in it, then you need to convince her that you're a better man that you want to be a better man than you've been so far in life. And dude, he was blown away. He's like, man, nobody's ever talked to me like that before. But you're right. If my wife doesn't believe that I have the ability to take action and see results, then, that says a lot about how I'm showing up at home. And I'm like, that's exactly what I can help you with. And he said, man, I'd rather not talk to my wife. I'm just going to sign up with you, and I'm going to show her the results because I don't want her to shoot me down, and I don't want to find out what she's really thinking about me. And that's exactly how I closed the deal, right? So I spun it around on him. You see, my process is to take that objection, instead of making it about me, is make it about them. It's like, you're giving me this objection because you're wanting your wife to tell you no, but if your wife tells you no, basically what she's saying is she doesn't believe in your ability to actually take action and get results. Another one is people might say, well, I can't afford it. And Tony Robbins always says, if the price is you can't afford it, it's actually that you can't afford not to. And sometimes people just simply don't have the money. And what I say is like, okay, absolutely, I understand, because the first thing I always do with prospects is I agree with them. I'm not going to start arguing with them and play a battle of egos, because then all of a sudden I've lost the sale. The second that I don't agree with the prospect, I've lost the sale. So rule number one is always agree with them when they give you an objection, because whatever they think is right in their mind. And so if I start a new power struggle that I'm trying to sell them on something else, it really doesn't do me any good. So if somebody says, I don't have the money or I can't afford it, I say, Well, why is that? You know, why at this point in your life do you not have $5,000? You're 35 years old, and don't you think it's ironic that and kind of odd that at 35 years of your life you haven't been able to have a credit card with $5,000 on it, or you haven't put back $5,000? Literally, that's less than $1 a day every day of your life that you haven't even saved. Wouldn't you say that it's time that you start taking action towards at least saving the money to where you do have $5,000? What would you do if you had cancer and you don't have $5,000 and the hospital says, I can't work on you at all? Right? You see, at that point, I flipped it back around on them too. It's like, hey, you're 35 years old and you don't have $5,000 to your name. Don't you think that's kind of weird? You've lived this long in your life and you've made this many bad decisions in your life is basically what I'm saying. Don't you think it's odd that you don't have a small amount of money? I mean, $5,000 isn't even the tax payment on a Honda Accord, right? Like it's just an odd way of thinking for them. And what it is they go, well, you know, if I had to, I could come up with it. So you're telling me that you don't want to invest in this program, and that's totally acceptable as well. I just want to know where you stand, because if you really want the program, you'll come up with the money. And so if you've noticed in those two samples, what I've done is I have asked them a question and turned it back around on them. You see, most people try to handle objections with fancy statements and fancy lingo and some kind of stuff that they've heard from some guru or whatever. But the truth is, you have to ask a question and turn it back around on your prospects so that the light bulb goes off and they have that epiphany of like, oh shit, I made a mistake. I do need this. Or, oh man, I'm the problem, not Ryan. Or, oh, it's not about me. Because, I mean, think about it. With me, when someone says, I'm not sure if I can get results, I say, well, I've been doing this for 8 years. I have almost 11,000 clients, and I've only given 20 refunds in 8 years. And that's true numbers at the time that I'm recording this video. It's like, do you think you're going to be number 21? 11,000 people can't be wrong. And if you're number 21, then that says more about you than me, sir, because I deliver every single time. That's why I don't have any bad press on the internet. That's why I don't have any one-star reviews on any of my websites, because I am a person of my word. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something. What about you? Are you a person of your word? I always ask a question and spin it back on them. So if you're getting objections, that's a good thing, right? Those are actually buying signs. That means that their wheels are spinning and they're trying to find a way to stall before they make a decision. And your job is to ask the question that makes the epiphany light bulb go off, to where they go, man, I need this. I got to have this. He's right. And if you try to like use fancy word tracks, or if you try to bully your way into the sale, even if it works, they might have buyer's remorse and feel guilty afterwards, and you're not going to get referrals and stuff from them. Your job as a salesperson is to provoke their thoughts when they give you objections, and to change the paradigm of how they normally speak, so that you'll get further with them and that epiphany light bulb will go off and they'll realize how much they need your services. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned something from it, if you're going to go out there and handle objections because of this video, then make sure you check out the other videos on this website as well. If you want to get good at handling objections, like I said, you got to do repetition and memory, and go to closercards.com and take advantage of that offer. It's less than $10 for those flashcards. You'll get all the answers and all the objections that you want, because you'll be able to write down your own stuff by following our exercise that we teach. Thanks again for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. We'll catch you next time.